Hello. I thought I would tell you guys a little bit about me and my background and my story. As many of you have read, I am living in Costa Rica. Yes, that's the ocean right behind me. I'm in my front yard. I'm really, truly living in paradise. um, so I'm married and I have two children, two young boys, and they're going to school here. And we're just living the Pura Vida lifestyle. It's really fun. And at the same time, I get to teach you guys. So I'm just so thankful and appreciative. So I thought I'd tell you a little about my history and how I ended up here. I can tell you that I actually never thought I would live in Costa Rica or on the beach. I always kind of had an inkling that I would be living somewhere internationally, but I don't know. So when I was younger, I visited Chico State, and while we were taking the tour, they said, "Oh yeah, and that's the Child Development Building," and then kept going. And I immediately was interested. So after the tour, I went back to the Child Development Building, met the chair of the department, looked at their wonderful program that they have, and I was hooked. I'm going to Chico State. I want to study child development. So I went to Chico State, studied child development, and had a wonderful time. I am a true believer that your education should be a true education. Like, it shouldn't just be test taking, and I mean, there are classes that you just have to take, and there are some tests that you just have to take, but I think you should actually learn something when you're in school. And so I took so many classes that had nothing to do with my major. I ended up doing a semester in London, which all of those units went to nothing, but I had a great time and learned a lot and got to travel. I did a semester here in Costa Rica, and actually all of those units, minus one class, so I went back and took another class, gave me a minor in Latin American Studies. So, and I took theater classes, and I don't know, and art classes, and I just had a great time learning and exploring, and it took me a little longer than 4 years to get through, but that's okay, because I learned. And back then, it was a little cheaper to go to Chico State than it is now, so that helped. So anyway, after I finished, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just knew I didn't want to teach elementary school, and I didn't want to teach preschool, and that's kind of what most people thought child development should lead you to. I decided I wanted to travel more, and I knew that working with children, they're all around the world, I could find something. So in searching online, I found a job in Midtown Manhattan as a nanny, as a live-in nanny, and I lived and worked with this family. They traveled a lot internationally, so I went to Europe, to Prague, Paris, Denmark, and then we went up and down the East Coast, and and it was all first class, which I had never done first class before. So it was awesome and amazing. And after the year was up, believe it or not, I missed Chico. And I started looking for jobs, but I didn't want to work in preschool, and I didn't want to, there weren't any really nanny jobs. And so I decided to go back to school and get my master's degree. I didn't know why. I didn't know what I wanted to get it for job-wise, but I knew that I love studying child development. So I ended up getting a degree in human development and education through interdisciplinary studies. So I kind of made my own master's degree. You can do that if you get it approved and have your chair and know what your thesis is going to be and all those kinds of things. And so as I was getting my degree, I met a lot of great friends. I also met my husband, my current husband. And after I graduated, one of my friends just happened to be running a foster care social worker. It was a an agency that deals with foster care. And he needed someone quick to be a social worker. And with my master's degree, I qualified. And so I didn't even really have to interview because he already knew my character and who I am. And so my interview was more talking like about pay and all that kind of stuff. So I was pretty much immediately hired as a social worker. Oh, and as I was getting my master's degree, I realized that you can teach with a master's degree, teach adults. And that really appealed to me. I love teaching college. You guys are great. And so I started teaching at Butte College right after I got my degree. I already did a internship, and I got a special certificate for teaching at community colleges. And so right after I got my master's degree, I started teaching at Butte, and I was started as a foster care social worker, and pretty much have been working until last year. I had been a foster care social worker minus a couple years when my children were born, and I've been teaching at Butte the whole time. The semesters that my children were born, I only taught online, but the other semesters I taught in the classroom also. So a little more than a year ago, we decided to move to Costa Rica. And when we decided that, I was actually kind of sad that I was going to have to leave Butte, or maybe take some time off. But in talking to the college, I have been teaching at Butte for so long, over 11 years now. Over 11 years. And they knew me and my quality of teaching, and that I've been teaching online for almost that whole time. And so because of that, I was able to still teach some classes online. And that enabled us to come down here and be able to work with you guys and be living in Costa Rica. I still come back to Butte College at least once a year, if not more, and just to make connections and talk to people and do professional development and all those kinds of things. I also have a other job because I did have to leave the social worker job position. I did ask them, could I do this from Costa Rica? And that you can't do foster care social work from Costa Rica. I also teach English as a second language, and this is something that I recently discovered I'm good at and I enjoy. And the first prerequisite is that you know English, which I do, and there are so many people from all around the world that want to learn English. So this is a great advantage. When I came down here, I was going to just teach the local, but I also found that I could teach online. So I'm also currently teaching Chinese children in China while I'm here in Costa Rica. So how international is that? Anyway, so that's kind of my story. Of course, there are tons of details in there, but for me, the moral of the story is if you do what you love and go with your interests, you'll end up living the life that you want to live. And I can tell you, even when I was in Chico, I was living the life that I want to live. Every little mini choice adds up to your big choice. So like in school, I've heard of people who go to school, their parents say, you have to study this, and the person doesn't even like what they're studying, but they get their degree anyway. Well, what are you going to do with a degree in something that you don't even like, you know? So I believe that you need to study what you love. And of course, you know, if you're getting a degree in something and you have to take a class that you don't like, that's different. But study what you love and meet people that in the area that you love. You know, like I never knew I would be a social worker, but I was meeting people. And my degree, it wasn't until I got my degree that I realized that it was a good prerequisite for the job that I was gonna get. If I didn't get that degree in that specific thing, I wouldn't be able to be a social worker. In teaching English, they require a bachelor's degree with the company I'm working for, I didn't get my bachelor's degree just to teach English. I got my bachelor's degree because I was studying what I love. So there are tons of jobs out there that you don't even know exist. But if you study what you love, it will bring you to a job that you love. If you meet people and keep people around you that are healthy or that think the same way that you think, that will bring you to a life that you enjoy. Does that make sense? Yeah. So anyway, I hope you liked hearing my story, and I'm really excited about this semester with you. I love teaching this class. There is so much to learn, and I learn something about myself every semester that I teach this. So whether you're brand new and have no idea about any of the stuff that we're going to be talking about, or you've heard it all before, no matter what, you're going to get something out of this class. Unless you don't show up, don't do the work. I mean, you get out of this class what you put into it. So please put in something, get something out of this. This class is so personal, and it helps with your personal growth. It helps in school, it helps in real life, it helps in everything. I promise you, I promise you. So anyway, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you again soon. Pura vida!